Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad we're all here together. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click the subscribe button below to receive updates and notifications. Today we're joined by Sarah Knight, who will lead us in meditation. Then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we're going to open it up for sharing, and we end at 10:45. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Dan. Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be with you today for a meditation which is based on workbook lesson 41, God Goes With Me Wherever I Go. This lesson speaks to everyone who has ever experienced anxiety, worry, depression, helplessness, fear of loss, or just a deep sense of unease. In other words, it speaks to us all. It's an important lesson, not only because of what it teaches us about our relationship with God, but also because it's the first workbook lesson that introduces the practice of meditation. This lesson might already be very familiar to you, but it's a meditation that can't be repeated too often. And once you're comfortable with the technique it teaches, which is also used in later lessons, the practice is one that you can return to whenever you need a deeper sense of peace and connection. Lesson 41 begins by telling us that all suffering, comes from the belief that we are separate from God. So what we think of as anxiety is actually a kind of separation anxiety, a symptom of believing we've been cut off from our source. The lesson explains that we've made various attempts to cure this sense of abandonment. We've tried to do so in many different ways. Yet despite our attempts, this sense of separation has shown up in our lives in various forms. Ultimately, the lesson says there's no cure here in the world because there can be no solution to a problem that isn't real. The Course tells us that we haven't separated from God. On the contrary, as this lesson states, He goes with us wherever we go. Lesson 41 tells us the simple idea that God goes with you wherever you go has the power to end all this foolishness forever. And it offers reassurance that deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the whole world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to these beliefs. The lesson says, you can never be deprived of your perfect holiness because its source goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone because the source of all life goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can disturb your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. Now, you might be listening to all of this and thinking, well, that sounds rather lovely, but do you really believe it? The lesson says we don't, because the truth is hidden beneath a heavy cloud of insane thoughts. Thoughts that are dense and obscuring. So the meditation this lesson gives us is an attempt to get past this cloud, go through it to the light beyond. In chapter 18 of the text, there's a beautiful image which says more about this idea, and I'll share that with you now. It says, this heavy seeming barrier, this artificial floor that looks like rock, is a bank of low dark clouds that seems to be a solid wall before the sun. Its impenetrable appearance is wholly an illusion. It gives way softly to the mountaintops that rise above it and has no power at all to hold back anyone willing to climb above it to see the sun. It is not strong enough to stop a button's fall, nor hold a feather. Nothing can rest upon it, for it is but an illusion. So our meditation today will be an attempt to move beyond this cloud, which is nothing more than the illusion, and to reach that place within where everything is perfect and where we can experience the reality that God is always with us. Now, before we begin, let's just take a brief moment to notice how often your awareness is focused outward on the world, on people, on problems, or plans. Usually that's where our attention is focused. So in our sacred time together today, you're invited to turn that point of awareness inward, to withdraw it from everywhere else, from the world, from problems and plans, and rest in the quiet center of your mind instead. The Course tells us that this center, though it's shrouded by the clouds of insane thoughts, it actually holds the presence of God. The light of God is already in your mind. The clouds of fear and distraction are just in the way of your awareness of it. So when we enter our meditation in a few moments, I invite you to sink inward through those clouds and toward the light within. Now, as you do this, your attention may get hooked on certain thoughts. That's perfectly normal. Whenever that happens, you can gently bring your focus back using the idea, God goes with me wherever I go. God goes with me wherever I go. So as we begin, I'll guide you with some words from the Course for just a few minutes, and then we'll move into our extended period of silent meditation. And again, during that silence, if you notice your mind drifting outward again, simply bring it back to the idea, God goes with me wherever I go. Just bring your awareness back with that line and without any judgment. God goes with me wherever I go. So when you're ready, if you haven't already, please close your eyes and settle in and make yourself comfortable. And bring to mind that thought, God goes with me wherever I go. And repeat that line to yourselves a few times, very slowly. God goes with me wherever I go. And hear these reassuring words from this lesson. It is quite possible to reach God. In fact, it is very easy because it is the most natural thing in the world. You might even say it is the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe that it is possible. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the whole world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to these beliefs. You may not believe all this yet. After all, the truth is hidden beneath a heavy cloud of thoughts. So let's make a real attempt to go past this cloud and through it to the light beyond. Reminding yourself, God goes with me wherever I go. Let your mind become clear as you enter deeply into your own self and allow yourself to sink down and inward. God goes with me wherever I go. You are trying to reach God.
Open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 15 minutes left for sharing. If you'd like to share your experience or you have a question for Sarah, raise your hand and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. Who'd like to share? Dennis.
God goes with me wherever I go. That was my lesson quite a few years ago, and I had a stent put in with the EVAR surgery. And they put me in the gown and they laid me on the table and they put this warm stuff on my hands. And I just kept repeating, God goes with me wherever I go. Sometime later, I woke up in intensive care, burst in for a pee. And I went to pull the covers back. And the nurse said, "Don't, you're all connected up. Just do it." And I said, "It's a long time since I wet the bed." So she said, "Just do it." And then she said, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And I thought, wow, I can even wet the bed. God goes with me wherever I go. And I'd never had an operation or anything like that before. So this was my first time. I must have been a little bit apprehensive to what happens. So he was there.
That's a lovely story, Dennis. I love the humor you bring with it as well. Thank you.
Well, it's actually true. That's what I said to the nurse.
Who'd like to share? Norman, take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you very much. Strange things happen. On Sunday, we were reading a lesson. It happened to be lesson 41. And the first time I read it not expecting anything to happen at all, but it did. And I just thought, well, I'll share it again. The first time I did it, it mentioned clouds, so I was thinking of clouds, not clouds of thought or anything like that. And sure enough, the clouds parted, and they were grey clouds, fair enough, just as it says. And then there was a lovely blue sky, and then the clouds became golden. And this was a real shock to the system because I hadn't been expecting anything. Because I think it says that after that, it can happen the first time you try it. And as I say, I had no idea what to expect. But it was a wonderful experience just to see it happening the way it said. Well, it happened the way, perhaps not what I was expecting, but it was a real eye-opener. And when I looked at the lesson, I ticked it. It does, I wrote it does beside it. And that was my sort of first little bit of awakening, and it's improved ever since. And it's always nice just to remember that. But it seemed like a miracle that it had been brought up again on Sunday, and here it is again now. And it's very reassuring. So thank you for bringing it up again on behalf of myself and everybody else. Thank you.
Very reassuring when those things happen, isn't it? Just like a little acknowledgement of the experience that you've had.
Who would like to share? Sarah, I'm going to jump in here. When you have mind wandering, which I'm sure you do because we all do, what do you do when you notice it?
Yeah. So with this lesson, I was using the practice line, God goes with me wherever I go. But I really noticed a lot of mind wandering in this particular meditation. You think the more you do meditation, the easier it becomes, and it does. But also, it doesn't mean it's always really easy, And I was aware of a lot of things catching my mind. In particular, I was imagining them as the clouds because that's the imagery we're given in the lesson. But it switched during my meditation from being an image of clouds, which I was trying to get through to reach the light, to actually feeling like I was running through a woodland of thorny trees. And I was trying to reach the light on the other side. I was trying to get out of the woodland. And the thorns it felt like they were snagging me. And obviously it was a visual representation, but I knew that they represented my thoughts. The thoughts were trying to hold me back from getting to the other side. And I felt quite determined to get to the other side. And so it was quite interesting to notice quite how many thoughts came up today. I had a wonderful meditation this morning and wonderful meditation yesterday, and I just noticed so many new things. So it kind of makes me think that, we do have to keep practicing. We need to be clear about what we want. But in this instance, I was very clear about wanting to get through there to the other side. And so that God goes with me wherever I go gave me the impetus to make it through those trees that were snagging at me. But I really find it very helpful, just in general, to bring that line, whichever line it is from whichever lesson, to the thoughts that come up. So, just bringing that practice line to the thoughts. And then there's almost a sense of, I can relax. God goes with me wherever I go in this instance, because I don't need to worry. I know that I'm going to get through this. I know these thoughts are nothing. God goes with me wherever I go. So that's the way that I have found that the course has really helped me with that, really helped me with, controlling or just really releasing the thoughts, not getting snagged by them when they come along. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Who would like to share? Teresa.
Thank you, Sarah. I haven't got very much to say, but I just want to say, firstly, it's lovely to meet you. And I loved the lesson you chose. I felt very relaxed, so peaceful. And I'm still in that space now. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Who would like to share? Would anyone like to share their experience of mind wandering and coming back to their right mind with Holy Spirit? Sarah. Sarah Antoni.
Thank you. Hi. Hello, Sarah. I haven't seen you for a long
Hi,
time.
Sarah. Nice to see
Did
you.
remember I did one of the, I can't remember the title of the course, but it was Said It All, if you remember the title. Maybe you're still running them. just about the Course in Miracles sort of introduction is really good. But thank you for this lesson. And yeah, I like what you said about sometimes the meditation works, sometimes it doesn't, and it doesn't. It just depends on lots of things. So I feel like actually at least being aware of the mind wandering indicates, you know, some progress. It's a bit like in yoga, you practice balance, and just because you're wobbling doesn't mean to say kind of you're failing. It's actually, it's the wobbling that strengthens the muscles. And I think in the same way, just noticing the mind wandering and then coming back, it's building it up again. A beautiful lesson. So lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I really like your analogy there with the wobbling, because that's exactly what it's like, isn't it? That is the practice, is bringing your attention back, you know, focusing on what you're trying to do. Yeah, lovely.
And there's something in chat from Victoria. Same as Teresa, it was a lovely lesson to choose and beautifully presented. I will try and stay peaceful during daily work for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Victoria.
And Linda, would you like to share?
Yes. All that comes to mind is I've got to 78 years and God has been with me wherever I go. And I've had some really scary moments, really scary. And just handing it all over because there was nothing else to do. And, you know, my lesson today is I rest in God, and God, I am as God created me. And it all just fits beautifully. So in my meditation, I was saying that God goes with me wherever I go. And then those two lessons, today, came in as well. So they all blended together. And one of the things that really came to mind was I was divorced, living on my own, got a mortgage, and I'd had to get a job. I've got a painter outside, and he's near the door. Yes, I went. I was doing 3 jobs, you know, trying to make ends meet, and each time a job came up, and then I was so stressed I hit a wing mirror, and I was on shift that day. Went to my daughter's and she took me to the doctor's, and he signed me off for 7 weeks. And how am I going to pay? And I wasn't doing the course at that time, but I have always been searching, always, since I've been little. And the owner of the care home phoned me and said, "Can I come and see you on Monday?" And I thought, this was a Friday. I think, she's going to tell me, you know, don't bother coming back. And she came on the Monday, and I'm thinking, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to live? And I had to keep handing it over. And she sat one side of the table, me the other. And the first thing she said was, she'd asked me to be her deputy before that. And I kept saying, no, I don't want the responsibility. No. Then she said, now will you be my deputy? And I said, I can't work for now. I've got signed off for 7 weeks. She said, we'll pay you from now. And that's just one example of how I've been looked after, where I know that God goes with me wherever I go. And it's, you know, I'm in a family crisis at the moment. So I'm handing it over, and yes, God goes with not just me, but all my everyone, every living being. So yes, thank you for that. It was a brilliant reminder. Brilliant. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Thank you, Sarah. That was a wonderful lead into our meditation, and take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you.